welcome to the show. I'm Sherry Schreiner. A couple of things I want to talk about tonight. Kind of been in that lull period, and usually when it's this quiet, they're plotting. And so, every year at this time we go through the whole December charade of the Ashtar Command wanting to use the week of December 25th as their next arrival point. As you know, we have several of them throughout the year, and I think every year at this time I start yelling because I don't want to hit the repeat button again and have to spend December talking about it again. But that's the way it is, folks. I mean, if I'm going to alert and warn people of what's coming up, then sometimes you sound like a broken record, and certainly puts me in that spot. If it's not December, the next time is Easter and Passover, and so, we just always have these arrival times and dates throughout the year that it's not if they're going to arrive, it's when. And 2016 is kind of like their wild card year to arrive. They don't necessarily have to. Certainly on their time clock, 2017 is a lot more important to them. They want to be here by September of next year. They want to start setting things up. And so this kind of accelerates the timetable. But what I've been noticing as well is that our ongoing war against them is speeding them up, making them accelerate the timetable because we're crashing their ships out of the sky. And, outside of the Orgone Warriors, there's no one who will give us credit for that. They'll say, it's meteors. They'll say it's space junk. We know darn well it's the Orgone. We've crashed over 11,000 of their ships from the skies since 2004. And so the skies are saturated with the Orgone, and what it does is it melts alien technology, and it causes them to crash out of the skies. And so they don't have too much more time to where they can just sit up there and do nothing, And so they're going to have to do something. They're going to have to pull off one of their charades. Some people call it the Project Blue Beam. Others call it the event. Most of us have always called it the Project Blue Beam, where they try to arrive to Earth as godlike and divine-like beings. The New Ages call them ascended masters. And I always thought that was kind of funny because ascended means going up. And that would mean they're within the Earth, coming up to the surface of the Earth if they're ascending, right? They would be coming up from within the Earth itself. Certainly not divine-like and godlike beings. So it's just a wait and see game with them. I want to talk about, I posted a couple days ago, I had a vision last week, and what I saw was this, I thought it was the sun, and it looked like it was exploding, just like a huge explosion in space. And so I started doing a little digging, and the New Agers seem to have two different scenarios. And I also remember, who was that military guy that, can't even think of his name right now, but he's in charge of remote viewing. And he said he had remote viewed a EMP strike on America. Well, the New Agers have two different things. Now, one is they had a plot years ago. Not necessarily the New Agers, could have been the New World Order, because they were practicing on Jupiter. They were putting nukes, blowing them up on Jupiter to see how it would impact Jupiter. And they had this idea that if they nuked Jupiter, that it would explode into a ball of light. and then it would totally extinguish itself and become darkened while it reconstitutes itself. And for a period of several days, it would be completely dark and black. And this is what this plan they had to do to our sun was to blow it up, and then it would become completely dark, completely black. And then after it reconstitutes itself, it would reignite itself again a couple days later. Now, we do have scriptures in the Bible that talk about the sun and moon being darkened and none of the stars in the sky shining their light. You know, people always say, what does anything I have to say have to do with, you know, God's judgments and tribulation periods? Like everything. It's everything. It's how things get done. How do you know, people think you're just going to wave a magic wand and the judgments are going to happen. I've always dealt with behind the scenes, what's going on in the background, and how we get there and who's involved and who's doing what. You know, something the church has never bothered to do. Never keep you up to date on what's going on in the background, who the players are involved. You know, these things, the tribulation period comes about because of people and events. And so that's what I give to you. So there's the sun and the moon and the stars, they don't shine. Really? Why is that? Really? Do they blow up the sun? Then you get everybody's comments, oh, you can't nuke the sun. I don't know how they do it. They just do it. I don't need all these Mr. Backchair scientists trying to act like they know more. They're textbook scientists, because our textbooks are all wrong. Astronomy, they've never taught you the truth. Science, they've never taught you the truth. They don't teach you the truth about anything. The Bible says the sun, moon, and stars withhold their shining, so how's that? But anyway, they also have this other thing where they say that there's a central sun in the Sagittarius constellation, and that's the one that they're going to blow up. Now, I've never noticed the central sun in the Sagittarius constellation, and the Sagittarius constellation is usually right up above America and Canada in the northern hemisphere. It's right in the Milky Way. And so when you see that, you pretty much, know what's right up above us. And, they go, maybe I saw that one instead of the real sun. Because they're telling their own people to stock up on food, water, and meds, because blowing up the central sun, they don't mention one time taking out an electrical grid. All they talk about is the earth being affected and the banks might be closed from anywhere from 1 day to 30 days as they change over into a financial system. That's all they have to warn about? Banks being closed? You want to blow up a star, which would be like an EMP strike on the entire planet. And the only thing they're telling their people is the banks might be closed for up to 30 days while they change over a financial system? Seriously? You think anybody cares about it then? They're just trying to survive with no heat in the middle of winter? Maybe that should be a thought. Total chaos, anarchy, riots, panic. Is that a thought? I don't know if they're going to do it. A lot of times I see things that are way down the road. Things that will happen way down the road. Or things that the Father will relent on and it won't occur. But if He's showing me it, it's a plan. I'll tell you that. They're planning it. It's on the timeline. It'll happen unless it's stopped. They don't do it. Obama wants to take down the electrical grid because he wants to stay in office. And the Electoral College meets on the 18th and 19th. And I don't know if that's really relevant or not to the scheme of things, because if he's decided he's not leaving office, then like a electoral college really wouldn't make much of a difference. He'd have to come up with something else. Blow up the electrical grid. He just wants to trash the place on his way out. He's like a little baby having a temper tantrum. And he wants to trash America on his way out the door. All the stuff's going to come out about him and Michelle. Michael Robinson. You know, that was crazy, because I remember years ago, back in 2008, when he was nominated as president, and I think my daughter at the time was like, I don't know how old she was, 10 or something, 12? And she's telling me, oh, Obama's daughter's on MTV, and I'm thinking, his daughters are too little to be on MTV. And she goes, no, they've got an older child. And at that time, the child's like in their 20s. And I'm thinking, what? Maybe 19? So, you know it wasn't Obama's, because he's a homosexual. The only thing it could be is that Michelle, who was Michael Robinson, fathered a child back when he was a male, because Michelle Obama's a transgender. The whole thing was just crazy. They never said a word about that. Media hushed that up real good. Of course, now it's coming out that all of our first ladies have been transgenders. If you read my book, Interview with the Devil, I talk about Barbara Bush, who was born Bob, Aleister Crowley's son. Every one of them. I think the one that surprised me was Jackie Kennedy. I mean, I don't know why I'm surprised, but you know, we don't think to the levels that they all go. So we're not looking for this kind of stuff to come up sweeping up behind us, like all this fraud and all this joking and laughter being played on the sheeple for so long. They've been laughing at us since the 1930s, and what they've been throwing in our faces, and nobody knew. Nobody was watching. Nobody would even think of it. Black is white, white is black, up is down, good is bad, bad is good. Everything's opposites with them. You know, one thing Lucifer said in my book was that, you know, being gay wasn't bad enough. There was no more, you know, if somebody said they were gay, nobody cares. You know, there was no more shock value to it. It wasn't bad enough anymore. So they were pushing the transgender agenda. But that's been going on for so long. Because if you look at women's sports, especially the Olympics, a lot of those women aren't even women. They're transgenders. And that was the one that infuriates me, because men are born with different muscle structure than women are. They have a lot more muscles than we do. They're not just stronger. They're stronger because of a reason. They have more pairs of muscles than we do. Arms, hands, shoulders, legs. They have more muscles. And I don't care how many estrogen pills you take, it doesn't delete those muscles. It doesn't take them away. And so they will always have a physical strength advantage over a female. It's biology. That's why you got all these transgenders in the Olympics. You know? They did it in tennis for a long time. Now it's in swimming. I don't know about the running. But I noticed the 16-year-old Canadian they had on the women's team swimming was a transgender. They're claiming now that all 5 of the gymnastics on the women on the gymnastics team were transgenders. I knew that Lori Hernandez was alien. She looked like a hybrid to me. Being a man didn't even cross my mind. I just thought she looked like an alien. All 5 of them, the Fab 5, or the Final 5 is what they called themselves. Tennis, I mean, that's been out forever. Serena, Stephen Williams, and her brother, Michael, I think it is. I think the Russians started that a long time ago, because that one tennis star they had was just so masculine. I think that was back in the Billie Jean King days. That's been going on for a long time in tennis. Upper body strength, the men do really well in women's tennis. Of course they are. They've got more muscle structures. So now women need their own sports just for women. Real women. Transgenders need their own team, their own identity now. It just makes me furious because it's a lie. I hate being lied to. And they flaunt these lies in your face. That's a woman. No, it's not. It was a boy. They flaunt it in your face. They just lie to you. Look at his birth certificate. Trump was always right. It's always been a fraud. He wasn't born in Hawaii. He wasn't born in America. Now they're saying his DNA doesn't even match Ann Dunham's. He's not even Ann Dunham's birth child. Maybe an adopted child, but not his birth child. Not hers. I was reading somewhere he doesn't have any DNA of her in him. But you know, Obama was a clone. Obama was a clone. Everyone's trying to decipher what he meant on, I will win the war by Christmas. I will win the war on Christmas. Was he speaking for the New World Order crowd? Or was he speaking as Maitreya in the New Age Agenda crowd? Because this Christmas is their thing. You know, they want to put up their Star of Bethlehem. It was supposed to be Shema that we destroyed. But they were going to try to circumvent the moon and use the moon as a launch base and come to Earth as divine beings, mimicking the Star of Bethlehem. Sananda's Day. You know, the Muslims don't celebrate Christmas, so nobody else in the world really cares about Jesus arriving on Christmas Day, but it's supposed to signify the birth of the New World Order, because that's what December 25th is, the birth of the sun god. The churches adopted it. Pagans celebrated it. The early churches adopted it. So we'll celebrate Jesus' birthday on December 25th, even though he was born in September. His name's not Jesus, it's Yahushua ben David. You can clearly see, when your eyes are open, that the churches worship two different saviors, Yahushua ben David and Jesus Christ, two different beings. They want you to believe that Jesus Christ is Yahushua ben David, but they adopt doctrines and teachings that he never taught, that aren't his. The apostles never taught them. They go contrary, and the only way they can get out of that is to say the Old Testament's dead. It doesn't count for now. Even though in the Old Testament there was over 500 prophecies in regards to last days prophecies. Over 500 regarding Yahushua's birth, ministry, and death and resurrection. In the Old Testament, he lays out his plan for his people with his appointed times and feasts that would last for eternal. It says it lasts eternal. Even during the millennial reign of Christ, this 1,000-year reign on earth, guess what we're doing? Celebrating Passover. The kings of the nation will go up once a year to Jerusalem, the new Jerusalem, actually. David, Yahushua will be reigning on earth again in Israel. And the kings of the earth during the millennial year will go up to honor the Passover. So during this 2,000 years of the church age, when the churches want you to believe all that's dead, negated, and done away, all of a sudden the millennial reign, it's what's dead is resurrected or what? No, it was never dead to begin with. You killed it because you wanted to hang up your Christmas trees and celebrate your little bunnies, the Ishtar. What do bunnies and Easter eggs have to do with anything? That's the fertility goddess, Ishtar. That's why they call it Easter, to hide the name from Ishtar, who was a fertility goddess. There's two different saviors being taught in the churches, folks. Got the church crowd and the people who followed the way of Yahushua and the 12 apostles. Two different groups. If the Old Testament was dead and done away with, why was it included in the New Testament? Why was he saying my words is forever? What's yesterday, today, and forever? That's what they do to excuse their lies and their paganisms, put everybody back to sleep. The apostate age. 2,000 years of church age apostasy. It's almost over. In fact, according to the New Agers, the age of Aquarius, the age the Father stood me up over 10 years ago, to warn about and teach about. I think it officially started on November 16th. I'm looking at this thing, and the Vatican recently had this huge ritual over there, and it was symbolizing the Pope closing the door of mercy. I don't know what that was about, but the whole thing was about closing the door of mercy, and they had him closing this big door, the mercy door. And his special Jubilee year, it was November 9th, his special Jubilee year was supposed to begin this year, or it ended. For some reason last year, it wasn't a Jewish Jubilee year, it was a Jubilee year for the Pope. He declared some kind of Jubilee year. I wonder what they were talking about. You hear him talking about Jubilee year, I'm thinking, that's over, that ended last year, didn't it? Confused in your own time dates. Because last year, September was the big date for all their arrival. I mean, they were hyping everything for gates opening and CERN and the arrival, but they weren't talking about the event as much as they were hyping about the CERN opening portals so that the demons and aliens could enter through it. That was more of the hype last year. They even had Madonna on tour, going on tour. They had the Pope in Philadelphia. I mean, last year the hype was huge for September because that's always the big arrival month too. And then when that one comes and goes and nothing happens, the next arrival time is Christmas. See, it's just the same times every year. So officially on November 9th this year, officially, the Age of Aquarius was supposed to have begun. And the Age of Aquarius, the way the Father explained it to me years ago, it's the 8th regime that's going to come to Earth. The New World Order is the 7th regime. And the Age of Aquarius is the last regime, and it springs out of the New World Order regime. And it's in the Age of Aquarius regime where the Antichrist and false prophet, the beast of Revelation, rise up out of. So it's the last and final regime on Earth. It is this one that will usher in the tribulation period. It's this one that lasts a very short time. And so this is the one. This is the one that we're waiting for its official, I guess you could say, official start, beginning. Now, they all have their plans. I know they all had their plans of blowing up the Hoover Dam a couple years ago to signify the breaking of the water from the womb, and then the birth takes place. And so they wanted to blow up the Hoover Dam to signify that. And so being the little warriors that we are, we got that place plastered with orgone so that anything coming through their little portal over there would get burned and fried. So they kind of delayed that one. They delayed their plans, didn't blow it up. They just go to plan B. I don't know if they're still going to blow up the dam or not. You know, as far as I'm concerned, anything that's going to come through the portal there is just going to fry. So they have their arrival from the sky, which they call the event. The New Agers don't have this whole Hoover Dam thing signifying the water breaking and blowing up the city of Phoenix to represent out of ashes arises the Phoenix. The Phoenix was an occultic symbol. It's almost not really an eagle. It looks like an eagle. It looks like an eagle, Phoenix. Different type of bird used in the occult. And so those were always the New World Order plans to bring about Lucifer to Earth, the two beasts of Revelation. They don't call them that, but that's what we call them. But I've always said when Lucifer came to Earth, the first thing he would do was round up all the people who got him there and kill them all, round them all up. They were actually the first ones on the red list. And so right now, if you look in the background and you follow the New Age agenda garbage boards, that's exactly what they're talking about. They're talking about all these bankers and all these New World Order people, they call it the cabal, being arrested and taken down. Haven't seen, and they always make these huge claims, but you never see anything on television. You never see actual arrests being made. The only thing you see now is Pizzagate coming out, and this, it's exposing Ann Romney, Oprah Winfrey being involved with a child snuff network, and snuffing, of course, is when you rape a child and kill it and you film it. I told you that was John Kerry's gig. That was his hustle. That's what got him his claim to fame and his Secretary of State title, because you have to have a service to Lucifer to rise up through the ranks, because you're awarded those titles. And that was always his thing. He was always big on the snuff network. And, of course, WikiLeaks came out and revealed that Ann Romney and Oprah Winfrey are both involved with that. And all these missing kids, these milk carton kids, 600,000 missing last year, they get picked up by people like Oprah and Ann Romney. And then they get taken, thrown into child trafficking rings. They beat them up and rape them, and then they kill them and film it all on video. And then they sell the videos in the underground market. Yeah, that's what people like them do. That's called snuff films. And then talking about Comet Pizza in D.C. And if you've seen the videos, it shows in the basement of D.C. they have what they call the torture room. And the reason it's all concrete, if you'll notice the torture room, the walls, the ceiling, the floor, it's all concrete and there's nothing in there, because blood gets all over the place. Because these animals, when you get to that level, you're not even human anymore. You just get completely possessed. Most of them are soul scalped. So they have reptilians and demons who operate through them, and it's through them that these beings manifest. And I've told you what they do. They rip these kids apart. They literally dismember them. It's part of their fun. If you have a small child, 10 months, a year, boy, girl, whatever, and these beasts are having a hard time raping them, do you know that they will just rip their legs off? They'll rip their legs off so they can get up in them. So that's why you have concrete, so they can take a hose and wash it out. Just take a hose, clean it all down. Tory Smith spent a couple years warning and talking about the child trafficking network in this country. And Tory Smith was a clone who stood up for disclosure. And even though he was a clone and he had to deal with his clone speak and his kind of new agey ideas and beliefs, he loved the children. And he wanted to stop the brutality that was happening to them. And he has a YouTube channel, Tory Smith, still up. I downloaded a lot of his videos because the information he was giving out wasn't just accurate, it was mind-blowing. Especially if you've just been one of these types that you can't deal with that kind of brutality, so you ignore it. You just, it's not your fight, you pick another one. Well, that was Tory's fight, because he wanted it to stop the child trafficking. And he was from Indiana. He was trying to stop. There was a huge MyLab base underneath the Indianapolis airport, and he would expose the locations of where these monsters were going. They would go to this MyLab underneath Indianapolis airport, where they would bring in the children. AFRICOM, NORTHCOM, SOUTHCOM. Guess who runs all that? The Pentagon. They're throwing us parts of the net worth by revealing Comet Pizza and Besta Pizza, but they're not giving you the real criminals, which is the Pentagon. The same people now that Donald Trump's putting in his cabinet. Really, Donald? You want to make America great again, and you're putting total monsters in office with you? Mike Pence? was the one that was behind Tory Smith's death, because Tory Smith was doing everything he could to expose Mike Pence and his involvement with the child trafficking and murder network in Indiana. The governor of Indiana, the congressman of Indiana, the police. And when Mike Pence was pegged to be Donald Trump's vice president, Tory Smith they finally sucked him. He was dead in like 2 weeks. They were poisoning him. You could see him go from a normal-looking clone, human, to someone that looked like he had just been through a nuclear war and breathed radiation. He looked terrible. He couldn't even talk, couldn't breathe. And I talked about him in my book, Interview with the Devil, Lucifer. And Lucifer told me, he confirmed that they had stood him up for disclosure, because we are in an era of disclosure. Everyone always thinks someone's going to get on a bullhorn, the president's going to get on TV and disclose everything. And you know what? That may come down the road. They won't do it. Obama's not going to get on TV and expose what an animal he is and how he rapes little boys. Hillary's not going to get on there and admit she rapes little girls. Mike Pence ain't going to get on there and admit he's raped and killed over 200 kids to get his position as vice president awarded to him for his service to Lucifer. Paul Ryan ain't going to get on there and admit it. Trey Gowdy ain't going to get on there and admit it. Who's going to get on there and admit what animals they are? They're all in it, folks. It's not Republican or Democrat. When they're in my labs, they're all together. They're all partying. When they're at satanic rituals, they're all together. When they're at the altar of Baphomet, they're all together. Two-party system's a joke. That's for public consumption. And as the seventh regime goes down and the eighth one rises, the eighth one throws the seventh one under the bus and reveals all the sins of the seventh regime, which is the New World Order crowd. They're kids, lineage, offspring. I've told you how they're related. Illuminati families, all related by bloodline to the very aliens that are coming to begin the eighth regime here on Earth, the Age of Aquarius. All bloodline related, part of the Nephilim seed lines. So a lot of disclosure coming quickly because they want to arrive in December. I haven't heard that they're not, that they've delayed. Now, they have never done anything they've actually said they were going to, because this was supposed to, start back in 2008. Hillary was supposed to be elected president, and in 2009 we were supposed to be in war with Iran and Korea and everybody, and then Hillary was going to sign the power and authority of the United States over to the UN. Yeah, so then Obama steals the election from Hillary, and that timeline is thrown out the window. Hillary's mad because she listens to my show. She knew she was supposed to win that presidency. She gets the Secretary of State title, spends 4 years trying to kill me, and stealing and embezzling money from the country through her Clinton Foundation. Actually, she started trying to kill me way before 2008. She was a high-ranking level witch, and this woman knew how to use powers. You know, the broom in witchcraft represents astral projection and traveling through the spirit realm. She's a traveler. I used to deal with her all the time. She was a traveler. She would come through astral projection at me. I go way back with a lot of these people. I remember Hillary Clinton saying something back in 2008, because I was just starting the Oregon War. And see, the whole reason Comey of the FBI is having a hard time bringing Hillary to trial for having her own server and all these different unsecured email accounts and stuff is because they all do it. They've all done it. They all have different names, different email addresses. I know Hillary Clinton used to be pissed because she hated that picture I had on my website, thewatcherfiles.com. And I think it was a picture of half Hillary and half animal, something stupid. It was just a stupid picture, but she got real pissed off about it. And she told me one time when she has to have this fake name on the internet. Al Gore has a fake name. I've argued with him on the internet before. I've talked to a lot of officials on the internet before in fake names. I'm not going to reveal what their names are. I respect their privacy that much. I want to argue. I'll argue with them. I don't care. But she said one time to me, she said, "You're not awake yet. You're not one of the illuminated ones," whatever she said. And she goes, "You don't even realize the role you're going to play." And then she started talking about a spark of something. I don't know. It's weird. Some kind of spark. And she said I had a huge role to play in the coming years. And I had no idea what she was talking about. I really didn't. I don't even think I'd started the Oregon War at that point. And then when I started the Oregon War, it was fight on. I've been on the top 10 kill list since then. Bush and Cheney tried to kill me. Obama, Biden, Hillary have tried to kill me. I've gone through so many administrations. Bush Sr., Cheney, I remember Roby and Rumsfeld. Call him Dumsfeld. Had to go through 8 years of all that crap. And then when Obama came on board, it was Obama and Hillary and Susan Rice and Joe Biden. Loretta Lynch. She's really not even in the picture. Even though she was Attorney General. And I was warned about her. She's coming after you, but she never did, that I know of. Now all that ends and we get a whole new group of people to deal with. Donald Trump. They say he won't take office. It's not just the Hillary people saying that. But if you listen to the New Age garbage, they're talking about how back in June of 2015, was that this year? I could be wrong. But they're saying that Paul Ryan was nominated as the new president of the Republic of the United States, and that they've been recognizing Paul Ryan and General Dunford as the leaders of America, and that they forced Biden and Obama to resign. And that's why when they had the world leaders forum over in China several months ago, that Obama didn't get the welcome of a world leader. He had to exit the back of his plane. They didn't wheel out the stairs so he could get off Air Force One. It all turned into a big, huge slap in the face and joke and disrespect, because they were officially recognizing Dunford as the leader of the United States, General Dunford. Paul Ryan is supposed to take over, but right now he's posing as Speaker of the House. So they're alleging that during this interim period where they're waiting for Trump to be inaugurated on January 20th, that all will be disclosed, all will be revealed about the new republic, what's been going on in the background, our new federal treasury in Reno, and the new money coming out, and America's going to be restored to the republic it was supposed to be. All the criminals are going to be rounded up. And Trump is just kind of the guy standing in the middle of the swamp draining it. Who knows what they're going to pull off, folks, if they do anything. I know we all want something to happen because everybody's sick of this place. He's just kind of like the guy. He was supposed to be Al Gore. Because I remember when all this crap started back in early 2000s, the plan was that Al Gore was going to be the man in charge during the interim period until new elections could be held by the people. Because what they claim is that the New World Order was a corporate government, and so the corporate candidates, both Hillary and Donald Trump, will be disqualified as being qualified to run because they're part of the corporate regime, the old corporate two-party system. And so that they're going to hold new elections based on the new restored Republic of America, and that Paul Ryan and General Dunford will emerge as our new vice president and president of the new restored Republic of America. Now, if those elections aren't rigged, then how do they already know it's going to be done for in Ryan? Because the Chinese elders, the people in charge of this new age of Aquarius, of Chinese, have chosen those two, have handpicked those two to be the leaders of America. Well, if this is supposed to be restored republic, restored America, why is China telling us what to do? Why are they telling us who our new leaders are? Why do all of our Navy ships have Chinese kill switch chips in them? And we've got the world's most expensive $4 billion carrier dead in the water in Panama because the Chinese turned the chip off and it's dead in the water now. All of our Navy, Obama forced the Pentagon to buy thousands of Chinese chips. The Chinese chips are now everywhere in our Air Force and Navy, and the Chinese have kill switch to them. They can shut off our airplanes. They can shut down our ships. Everything's controlled by Chinese chips. Same with Great Britain. Now do you see why I've been screaming for years that China owns America? Littlest kids, folks. They're littlest kids. So what else I wanted to bring up? I just kind of jot stuff down through the week. Well, I want to talk about that Steve Pieczenik. He's creepy. He's one of those people that you watch his videos and he's creepy. He's one of the New Age heroes, bringing the silent coup against Hillary. I hate the way he says coup. Coup. But he worked under Henry Kissinger and George Bush Sr., and he talks like these guys are his heroes. I mean, seriously. He's CIA. They say former. You're never former CIA. You are CIA for life. I love all these people that come out, I'm former CIA officer. You are never former, ever, till you're dead. He's CIA. Long history working with Kissinger and Bush Sr. He's probably been out at the ranch, Cheney's Ranch in Wyoming. His MK Ultra Human Hunting Ranch, because you don't get to where these people are in the CIA or any part of the government without paying your dues, which includes raping and killing children. Isn't that right, Paul Ryan? Lindsey Graham, Nancy Pelosi, Harry Reid, John McCain, Mitch McConnell. Yeah, real poster boys and girls, folks. But Steve Pieczenik's acting like he's helping take control of this republic, going to restore our Constitution and all of our rights back to us. But meanwhile, China owns us. Seriously. Supposed to see the end of the Federal Treasury, the IRS, and Wall Street. All three of those entities, agencies will cease to exist. The new money, Federal Reserve, or the Federal Treasury, the new one, is based out of Reno, Nevada, underground base over there. The Japanese have been at for years. And they've printed up new dollars, and Benjamin Fulford actually shows in his latest video, or he shows the pictures of what this currency looks like. That's coming out. It's supposed to replace the dollars and the money we have now. I thought I was looking at dinars. If you have bought or acquired dinars, it looks like a total monopoly money. They're all different colors. And that's exactly how the new American money looks right now. It's all different colors. And there's people on them. I have 3 college degrees. I don't know who they are. I recognize Nikola Tesla. I don't know who those other people are. And they have all these weird symbols. The $5 bill. Some woman. I don't know who that is. The $1. I don't even know who that is. The $50 bill looks like an alien. It looks like a reptilian hybrid, a half human, half reptilian thing. The $20 bill looks like DC on fire, which I've always said was always a July 4th target. Everybody's celebrating the independence of America. They wanted to blow up Congress. It's always kind of been their thing. I look for that every year and cheering on, but it hasn't happened yet. The $10 bill looks like some kind of sailboat and navigation tools, compasses. I have no idea what this stuff is. Now, I know Tesla, because he's the real genius. Plasma technology, pulse beam technology, all that stuff is from Tesla. So, and they're all different colors. The $1 bill is like an aqua green color, and the $5 bill is like a pinkish red, and $10 bill is purple. $20 bill is orange. $50 bill is like a dark yellow. And then the $100 bill is almost like the $1 bill, but a lighter shade of this green or aqua color, whatever it is. Yeah, it looks crazy. This is all part of their currency reset plans. So let's see. The Federal Treasury in Reno. NSA is in Utah. I don't know where. If I was Donald, I wouldn't move to D.C. either, I'd stay in New York. Because they're going to blow up D.C. In the age of Aquarius, D.C. is irrelevant. They say that they're going to have new elections, and all the congressmen that are in there now are going to be replaced by politicians who actually will follow the Constitution. The Supreme Court will be replaced by judges who have been retrained and relearned in constitutional law. They have all this hype stuff going on. What they're just going to do is blow up D.C. Don't need it. Because like I've always said, the UN is going to take over the USA. The USA will be run by the UN. And the UN is ready to move, and probably already have, who knows. Because they've been building this beautiful, I hate to say it, but it's totally beautiful, this breathtaking city in Kazakhstan. Now, if you thought Dubai was pretty grand in architecture, just ruined by all those hybrid Muslims, inbred Muslims, you should see Kazakhstan's infrastructure. Probably one of the best kept secrets in the world. They've been building this city over there. And Kazakhstan was one of those Muslim republics that broke off of Russia. There's 3 republics that broke off, those Muslim republics, and Kazakhstan's one of those. And so they've been building this beautiful city over there that rivals Dubai. And that's where they have their new UN ready to go. So they can just leave New York, blow up D.C., and control the USA from Kazakhstan. People always think, well, Obama's the Antichrist. He could be. The Old Testament prophets said the leader of last days Babylon, which would make it the president, comes to target as always being the Antichrist, leader of last days Babylon. And we know America's last days Babylon. But doesn't necessarily mean it's the president of America if it's the UN that's taking over leadership and control of the USA. And that puts the hands of the beast of the Antichrist as the UN leader, who is, by the way, over all tongues, nations, describes the UN. Times it perfectly with prophetic scripture. People just don't want to see it. leader of the UN, who had total control of the USA. Hillary was going to hand over the power and control of the UN. Trump is going to hand it over to this New World Order agenda, which is going to take over the UN. So there's really no outs, folks. Anyway, the show went quick. Be back next week, I would assume. I haven't blown up my house yet. I can. But don't forget to support your favorite talk show and your favorite ministry on the planet, and support our resistance and our ongoing war against the aliens and demons and scumbags on this earth. You can go to SherryShriner.com and become a supporter. Just click on the donate page. Become involved. Till next week, everybody. God bless.